Hey YouTube, JGreen302. I'm going to call this miscellaneous thoughts and updates. For all the folks that are bitching at me, thank you. At least somebody's listening. Couple of thoughts. I've been down with a cold, had a lot of time to think. Most of the videos that I've put out were from the last year, trying to get all the ideas that haven't been covered very well covered. At this point, I've pretty much hit all the ones that were off the top of my list that I could think of. So I want to give you a couple updates. I actually took notes. Let's talk about bread. Bread's pretty important. It's definitely a damn good thing to have for supplementing your food. Bread seems like an easy thing. I started thinking about bread a lot. So what I did is I went and got flour, I got yeast, I got all the things. I sat on YouTube and watched 10 different ways to make basic bread. Took notes, got all the supplies. Can't see it, but there's flour all over me. I just completed my first test. It was a horrible failure. Thoughts and observations. Even though I followed the instructions very carefully, yeast. You really, really have to take some time and go through making some bread and understand yeast. Because if the yeast doesn't work, the bread it just doesn't work. I bring this up because if you're storing flour, if you're storing baking powder and shortening and things like this, anticipating that you're going to make bread, and you go to make bread and you do what I just did, you're wasting your supplies. Thought I'd mention that. Not as easy as I thought it would be. And I'm working with a stove, I'm working with timers, I'm working with every convenience you can possibly have in the modern world. I screwed it up. I'm not doing this in the dark. I'm not doing this on a wood stove. I'm not doing this in a complicated way. I'm doing it with every benefit, and I still blew it. You might want to walk down and just try making some bread and see how poorly it comes out. And then figure out, because if you can't make bread under ideal conditions, you damn sure can't make bread under poor conditions. Something to think about. Switch gears. Like I said, miscellaneous subjects. Something else that came up that I haven't seen any of the preppers talking about. You might want to look into getting sound amplification units. I found a pair for probably $22 on Amazon. I might wind up ordering them, and here's why. You want to hear the enemy coming. You want to hear movement. You want to hear somebody walking, coughing, talking, gear rattling. And if you can amplify and listen by amplification, you're going to get more warning. And the more warning you have that somebody's approaching, the more likely you can respond to that warning a lot better. If you're dozing and you are listening to an amplified unit, that sound is going to wake you up a lot quicker. It doesn't have to be an expensive unit. Low buck, easy bird listening sound amplification units, you're an old fucking, you can't, hear the TV amplification units will work just fine. But there's a nice little gadget that might be worth having that could be absolutely priceless when you're sitting there, guarding your home. Thought I'd mention it. Okay, next one. I found a nice little gem. When the electric goes out, wouldn't it be nice to have some wind-up clocks? You might be thinking to yourself, dude, what am I going to do? Get up for go to work? No. But we are programmed with time. If we tell somebody, we're going to go on shift at a certain time, or we're going to come off shift, it's my turn to sleep, it's your turn to watch guard, I'll be back in 2 hours, and there's no electric, all your digital clocks don't work. Your watches may last a year. They may last 6 months. It all depends on what condition the battery is at the time it goes. For $10, you can pick up, you can probably go to Goodwill and find these wind-up clocks. Have 3 or 4. Might be a nice little item to put in your kit. Like I said, I just went through a cold. Went down for, I don't know, 4 days, 5 days. Basically, what I remember of having a cold was get up, take NyQuil, force myself to work, did everything I could to get through my job day, taking NyQuil, and then as soon as I could, I'd take a nap, get up, do very little, take some NyQuil, go to bed, get up in the middle of the night, take some NyQuil, go to bed. And then I noticed how much NyQuil I took until the cold issues cleared up. I took a strong note of my energy level, my eating, my drinking, and most importantly, my coughing. This got me thinking. When things go bad, your diet gets screwed up, and things are in a shit hits the fan scenario, in almost any scenario, anywhere, when things are bad, people cough. So the audio amplification, 9 times out of 10, is going to be worth its weight in gold. 2, everybody's going to be coughing. You might want to think about this as far as your kits, and make sure that you and yours are not coughing, because coughing is a dead sign of occupancy. Coughing is a sign of folks that are less than 100% condition. Coughing is a sign of the weak, the infirm, and coughing is something that can happen at the worst possible times. And not to mention having a cold. I couldn't function with all my modern conveniences, never mind function in a bad scenario where I have to stay alert. I was calling it the NyQuil fog. It bothered me. So I thought that I would mention just a couple of these little observations. There's not enough in each one to categorize anything, but these were my thoughts here recently, and they're all new ones that I've added to my list, and I thought I'd share. Otherwise, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Talk at you soon.